Jesus on stress. Lessons for modern life. Pressure. It comes from our jobs, our relationships, and society's expectations. We often feel overwhelmed and out of control. But how do you stay calm when everything seems to be falling apart? Thousands of years ago, one man faced immense pressure, from angry crowds to the betrayal of his closest friends. Today, we'll learn 3 valuable lessons from Jesus on how to manage stress in modern life. Lesson 1. Finding quiet in the crowd. Modern life constantly surrounds us with noise. The noise from work, from social media, and from other people's expectations. How can we find peace when the world around us is so chaotic? Let's look at the life of Jesus. He was constantly surrounded by crowds from everywhere. They wanted him to perform miracles, to heal them, to teach them. The pressure to please everyone was immense, but he never let it control him. In the Bible, we see him regularly retreat to a quiet place to pray. This wasn't an escape. It was a deliberate act to recharge and reconnect with himself. The lesson here is simple but powerful. We must prioritize our quiet time. When the world gets too loud, find a place to disconnect. That might be just 15 minutes of meditation, a walk without your phone, or simply sitting alone quietly with a cup of tea. This act isn't selfish. It's essential for us to be able to serve others more effectively. Just as Jesus did, find your own oasis of peace. Because only when you find inner stillness can you face the chaos outside. Respond instead of react. An unexpected criticism, a negative comment, or an argument. Our first instinct is often to get angry, get defensive, or attack back. But there's another way to handle these situations. It's learning to respond instead of react. Jesus was constantly put in situations that could have provoked him. The Pharisees and scribes were always trying to trap him with difficult, malicious questions. Instead of an angry outburst, he always stayed calm and gave a wise answer. When they asked him about paying taxes, he didn't criticize them or get angry. He simply asked, "Whose image and inscription is this?" Then, he gave the perfect response: "Give back to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's." Applying it to modern life. The lesson here is that we have the power to control our reactions. When faced with criticism, we can pause, take a deep breath, and ask ourselves, what am I feeling? Why do I want to react this way? This small act helps us shift from reacting, acting on instinct, to responding, acting with thought. Instead of letting emotions take control, we take control of the situation. Just like Jesus, we can win not through confrontation, but through wisdom and composure. True strength is not in a powerful comeback, but in the ability to stay calm in the storm. Next, we'll explore the third, and perhaps most difficult, lesson: accepting what you cannot control. Accepting what you cannot control. Most of our stress comes from trying to control things that are beyond our power. The outcome of a project, the actions of others, or life's unexpected turns. But how do we find peace when everything seems to be spinning out of our grasp? Before his crucifixion, Jesus faced ultimate fear in the Garden of Gethsemane. He prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me." He honestly expressed his suffering. But in the end, he said something incredibly powerful: "Yet not as I will, but as you will." This wasn't a surrender, but an act of strength. He let go of control and accepted an outcome he didn't want, but knew was part of a greater plan. The lesson here is to learn to distinguish between what we can and cannot control. We can't control the actions of others or unexpected events, but we can control our attitude, our reactions, and our choices. True strength comes from letting go of what you cannot control and focusing on what you can. Like Jesus, we can find peace by accepting that there is a greater plan at work, even when we can't see the whole picture. So, what are you trying to control in your life? Remember, you can find peace in letting go. Accept what you cannot change, trust your journey, and focus on the choices you can make. Try to apply one of these lessons this week. You might just find the peace you've been looking for. Have you ever applied one of these lessons? Share your experience in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next valuable lessons. See you next time. Footsteps of Faith, journeying through the Holy Land. Welcome to Footsteps of Faith. Today, we're beginning a special journey, traveling back in time to walk on the sacred grounds where some of the greatest stories of the Bible took place. Our first stop is the Sea of Galilee, a sunny, windy land that witnessed Jesus' miracles, his teachings, and his most pivotal moments. Join me as we explore the meaning of this place and see how its timeless lessons still echo in our lives today. The Sea of Galilee, also known as Lake Tiberias or Lake Gennesaret, isn't just a beautiful sight. It was the center of Jesus' public ministry. For 3 years, he walked along its shores, teaching, healing, and calling his disciples. Imagine, it was on this very water that he walked. On the surrounding hills, he gave his famous Sermon on the Mount. And from these small fishing boats, he called simple fishermen to become fishers of men. The city of Jesus. Welcome to Capernaum. Although it's just ruins today, this was once a bustling fishing town and one of the most important places in Christian history. This is the very place Jesus chose as the center of his public ministry. Imagine Capernaum 2,000 years ago, a small, vibrant city on the shore of the Sea of Galilee. This is where Jesus lived and taught for a large part of his ministry. He met and called his first disciples here, including Peter, Andrew, James, and John. Every stone here tells a story. And one of the most famous stories took place right here in the center of town. Jesus taught in this synagogue. And nearby, he performed miracles. One of the most touching stories is about the paralyzed man. When he saw the faith of his friends, who carried him through the roof to get close to him, Jesus said, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Jesus not only healed the body, he also healed the soul. He gave this man a second chance. And this event took place right where you are looking today. Capernaum reminds us of the power of faith and friendship, of overcoming obstacles to help others. But above all, it gives us a lesson in humble beginnings. A man from a small village chose a small town by the lake to begin a great ministry. History was changed from this place, from the simplest of things. Capernaum reminds us of the power of faith and friendship, of overcoming obstacles to help others. But above all, it gives us a lesson in humble beginnings. A man from a small village chose a small town by the lake to begin a great ministry. History was changed from this place, from the simplest of things. The Mount of Beatitudes. After exploring Capernaum, we'll climb this hill together, a place believed to have witnessed one of the most important moments in humanity's spiritual history. This is the Mount of Beatitudes, where Jesus delivered his famous Sermon on the Mount. Imagine, on this peaceful hill, Jesus sat down and taught his disciples in a large crowd. He didn't speak about laws or punishments. Instead, he began with words of blessing, starting with the phrase, "Blessed are," and guiding us on a completely different path to find happiness. So, why is the Sermon on the Mount so important? Because it's a complete reversal of worldly values. While the world values power, wealth, and fame, Jesus blessed the humble, the compassionate, the peacemakers, and those persecuted for righteousness. These teachings are not just for the people in the Bible. They are a call for each of us today, a call to live a meaningful life, not based on what the world defines as success. We can find true peace not through accumulation, but through giving. Not through winning, but through forgiveness. Standing on this Mount of Beatitudes, I realize one thing. In a world full of comparison and pressure, we need these teachings more than ever. They remind us that blessed are the poor in spirit means those who realize they cannot solve all their problems on their own. Blessed are the meek means those who choose humility over power. And blessed are the peacemakers means those who bring peace to the world. These words are not a promise of an easy life. They are a promise of a purposeful and meaningful life, even in the midst of difficulties. Have you ever applied one of these lessons? Share your experience in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next valuable lessons. See you next time.